Hi guys, my name's Charles Hakopian,
I'm Amy Hakopian.
and we have Grant and Mia, our children. Just a little bit about my testimony. I was raised in the church in Rancho Cucamonga, one of the bigger churches in the area. Actually, when I was about in 5th grade, my parents started going to CBC Church, which is actually right next to where we live right now. Once we moved as a kid, we started going to Hillside Church. We were raised in the church. Amy and I met when we were in high school. We went to summer and winter camps together. We were actually part of high school leadership. Pretty much that looked like us leading conversations with our peers every Wednesday nights for youth group and Sunday mornings. I got hired with the fire department when I was 21 years old. We'd been dating ever since high school, and pretty much kind of fell away from the church. We'd go every now and then. We'd go on holidays. I always knew God was real. I always knew the basics of the Bible, but the gospel just really wasn't clear to me. Fast forward approximately like 12, 13 years ago, just guys at work are starting to have conversations about who Jesus is, about religion, about what we believe, what's going to happen after you die. And for the first time in my life, I was just unclear of really what I believed. I knew I had some basic roots in the church. I had heard the name of Jesus, but I wasn't living it out. I looked exactly like the world. Had a lifestyle that was very, very worldly. We were married. We had our firstborn, Grant. He was about a year old, and this is about the time we started having these conversations at work. I started praying with a buddy of mine. His name's Matt. It worked because he didn't grow up in the church. He was asking me questions about who Jesus was, what I believed, and like I said, for the first time in my life, I was just kind of at a loss of, I knew what the truth was, but I wasn't living it, and I was torn. I started praying to the Lord just to open my eyes of what He wanted me to do with my life. At that point in time, our marriage was not healthy. I had multiple addictions. I was doing drugs. I was drinking a ton. I was a very lustful person, all within, the confines of marriage, and having a newborn son at home. As I was leaving the fire station one morning, I was going to meet my buddy to go mountain biking, and I'm driving on the 5 freeway and turned the radio station to a Christian station and heard the song start playing, and it was literally like duct tape was ripped off my eyes. I had been praying to the Lord for weeks before this, just to open my eyes to what the true gospel was. I was in the Word, and I was just searching. I think at that point in time, that was the one time after even being raised in the church and knowing who Jesus was, where I was convicted of my sin. I knew that before that moment, I was not okay with my Creator, and I knew once He convicted me of the sin in my life, that it turned me into just a repentant person. I was sorry for my sin. I did not want to continue in this lifestyle. I remember getting to mountain bike with my buddy, and my eyes are bloodshot, and he's asking me what's going on. I'm describing the gospel to him, and he just looked at me like I was crazy. Got home that evening, told Amy what was going on, and she pretty much said, "You got to prove it." Like, our relationship was not healthy at that time. But over the course of the past 12 to 13 years, God has just done tremendous things of restoring our marriage, opening my eyes to what a godly man, a godly husband, a godly father should be, leading my family well, and just being a good example of Christ at work. That radical life change has happened for me. Very fortunately, it happened, and very grateful.
Yeah. Growing up too, similar situation. I grew up kind of in the church. My family was just Catholic, but pretty much just culturally Catholic. Took me to mass, every so often on holidays and things like that. So I knew a little bit of those kind of core, what would you call them? Like values, like biblical values, kind of. But a lot of my growing up was rooted in morality and just being moral and having good character. And I kind of never really just understood why. Like, why would I have good character? Why be good? Why have morals? My family was very much like a quiet family. It didn't really like to be too social. And so I had a hard time seeing from what my family's example was, like, okay, how do I be moral? How do I have good character? And at the same time, like, live that out to other people. It was just in the confines of our own family a lot of times. So having that example set for me was a little bit difficult. I ended up, after just going to high school, meeting Charles, it was really cool because he seemed so much more in touch with who God was, and he seemed to be a lot more like devout, I guess is a word I would use, because his family went to church and things like that. And so I wanted to go. And so we ended up going together, like he said, and it was great. We built a lot of relationships in youth group, and I saw a lot of the traits that God had given him, just gifts he's given Charles, and the ways that he would lead youth group and the ways that he would relate to the boys around him. And it's something that I've always seen him kind of grow into. And fast forward to, our testimony. I mean, of course, that's part of it, but really learning after a lot of heartache in my childhood, learning that I had to be able to trust God first in order to be able to submit and to put all my faith in him. And so when I was at the end of my rope with our marriage and things going on with us, I felt like I had no choice but to trust who he was and leave my life in his hands and really just follow him. And that's, I think, where it started for me. So I think that's it.